T-Rex Space Station! It is I, the Pumpkin! Yes, I have spread my seed here as well. Hello, everyone! So do listen to the many words that Ben has to say to you. If you don't, I will hurt you and I will craft a penis from your chest! See you later.
For some reason, a strange shiver just went down the back of my spine. I don't know why that would be. Anyway, this is going to be a video response to Infected Flinch's open tag question. And he called it, "You Can't Take It With You." It's actually a selection of 4 different questions. And I was actually tagged in this by Kit171, I think it was. I'll give a link in the description below to Infected Flinch's channel and to Kit's video response, which was really good. And do my best to answer the questions as best as I can. So question number 1 then, do you struggle buying games, and if so, why? I think now more than ever, now that I have a job and some surplus money, I really don't struggle buying games. In fact, the problem is that I'm usually inclined to purchase too many of the damn things. You know, I just went to the Leeds Retro Market a couple of weeks ago, and I actually had to restrain myself from purchasing too much stuff, because I'm the kind of person that when I see Mega Drive games, I'm just like a little kid in the candy shop, and I get really excited and want to buy them all, buy all that nostalgic retro goodness. And so actually now I'm trying to improve what I do, and just to buy games that I'm pretty sure, or that I know that I will play, and not just splash out and go mad. I think that as I've become more grown up, I've had to be very space conscious. I've got one shelf, and once that shelf is full, no more games can be purchased, and I'm trying not to fill it up with shit that I'm not going to play. So I think the struggle for me, or where the difficulty comes in, is in controlling my purchases and not going absolutely ape and buying too many things. The only problem I would sometimes have is that I can sometimes be a little bit overwhelmed by too much choice. Sometimes I kind of sit there scratching my head at Steam and looking at loads and loads of different games, and I can be a little bit indecisive. I think in the indie market especially, there's so many different choices and different titles and different things out there that I can sometimes be a bit put off and like, oh god, there's just too much here. I just feel sort of paralysed and end up not buying anything. Again, it's because I don't want to end up just having a huge library of games that I've just took a random punt on and not really going to play, because I feel that's a waste of money, and I also feel slightly guilty when those games sit there in my collection and I don't actually get around to playing them. I suppose the games that I find the most difficult to buy are modern games, games that have just come out, because I usually struggle to bring myself to pay the money that they cost. Even though I have it, on principle, paying £40 for a game sort of hurts me, and I have to really want it to do that. I did recently buy Monster Hunter 4 in game, and it was like £39.99, and I was like, yeah, I just really want it, so I bought it and I didn't want to wait. But I can be very hesitant to buy new games, and I kind of want to loiter around until the price comes down. I find that with popular DS games especially, even when they're second hand, if it's something Mario-y or one of the big franchises, the price will be kind of high on those, and that really annoys me. I think I can struggle most with buying mainstream games or games that cost kind of £30 and upwards, because I just always feel like, oh, I could get a bargain or I could get something cheaper. Do I really need to spend that much money on it? But on the most part, no, I don't have any problem buying games. I buy too bloody many, and I've got to try and restrain myself so I don't just end up with far too much stuff when I inevitably have to move flats. It'll just be like, oh my god, where do I put all this stuff? In a large big van, I presume. Number 2, have you regretted trading in a game? This is an interesting question. I did explain in the past, it used to be that I wouldn't have a lot of money, I wouldn't just be able to have infinite consoles, and usually as I moved on from each tier of system, I would have to trade it in to get the next system. So I traded in my Mega Drive when I was younger, and all my games, and I had a lot of games, and I got really very little money for them. I can remember being like, really? This collection that I spent hundreds of pounds on, you're just going to give me like 40 or 50 quid for? But I did that so I could afford a PS1, and at the time all I wanted was the modern stuff. I wanted to have the next generation, and I wasn't too bothered about having to sell all my Mega Drive stuff. That was the thing that was important to me, because I didn't want to miss out. Everyone was talking about the PS1, everyone had Tomb Raider and all these cool games and Croc and stuff, and back then I wasn't thinking about nostalgia in the future, or longevity, or building a collection, or what those games and what those memories would hold for me. And so I did what I had to, and it was the right decision at the time. But looking back at it now, yeah, I regret trading in my Mega Drive and all those old games. It would have been great to have kept my original copies. They were all in good condition. A lot of them I'd bought new. and it was a real shame that I let all of that stuff go. And similarly, I did give away actually my PlayStation 1 and all the games I had for that, because again it was just taking up too much space, and I had a PS2 then and I wanted to focus on that. And at the time, again, it was the right decision to make, but sometimes I look back with a sort of tinge of regret and think, I kind of wish I hadn't done that. I kind of regret trading those things in. But you know, you do what you have to do, and you know, now in hindsight, I can look fondly upon those games and pick them up again at my own leisure. And it is kind of fun when I rebuy them and revisit them again after not having them for a long time. That kind of makes a sort of added value to the titles. Even if they're not popular, or expensive, or well rated, it's kind of nice to go over old ground and recollect the games that I let go in the past. Question 3. If you could play a game again knowing absolutely nothing about it, what would it be? This is an interesting question, and I had to pick my brains a little bit here. I had to try and think of the game that wowed me the most, or that was the biggest deal first time around. And maybe one that's now very overexposed, maybe overrated even. And for me, I had to pick the original Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Mega Drive, because this was the game that came with my system. I got the box set that came with the game packaged, and it was a great memory for me. It was Christmas Day. Everyone else had been talking about this Sonic game. I'd seen it at my friend's house. I thought it was amazing, and I got a copy and a console for myself, and it was superb. And I couldn't believe how colourful and how fast the gameplay was. And it was a really great discovery for me, learning that game and playing it and experiencing it. And it's just such an iconic game that's full of nostalgia for a huge number of us. And for a huge number of us was a big gateway game into platformers in general. And it's also one that I want to play and want to talk about on my channel and want to show footage of, but I hesitate and I don't do it because it's just overexposed. It's too obvious almost. In fact, I hardly ever play it because I just feel like I've done it to death, in the same way that it's hard for me to revisit old albums that I've heard so much. It's like, I love that album, and because I loved it so much, I can now never listen to it again. In a similar way, I'm put off from playing Sonic the Hedgehog just because of how much time was spent on it and how well known and overused it's become. So I think it would be great to go back and have never played the original Sonic the Hedgehog and just be like a kid again, be back in that place when I first got that system, and just be, wow, this is amazing, this is colourful and fast and exciting and completely new. So yeah, I think I just have to go for Sonic the Hedgehog. What a great game. Question number 4, slightly morbid. If you had to be buried with one console, what would it be? It's a rather dark question, Dave. I always get freaked out about thinking about my own mortality. It's something that I've always struggled with. I start to get these weird existential thoughts. It's like, if I'm going to die one day, what's the point? And I can slip into this terrible lethargy and lose focus on everything and start to become way too preoccupied with life's transience. And so I try to avoid morbidity and questions about death, but this is a light-hearted one that involves video games. So I'm going to answer it anyway and try not to get all mopey, doughy-eyed and depressed on you, because that wouldn't be good, would it? You don't want to see that on YouTube. You don't want to hear a man crying. Okay, I'm going to stop pretending to cry. I'm actually not feeling too sad at the moment. Anyway, I'm rambling. This is a difficult one. I thought I would have to pick the system that gave me the fondest, most youthful, most pleasant, safe memories to kind of commemorate and treasure my life, and to represent a time in my life that was, yeah, innocent and beautiful and just safe, I suppose. For me, I had to choose, well, I will have to choose the original Game Boy. Well, not quite the original one. I had a limited edition yellow one. This was a game, a system that I was given by my nana on Christmas Day, and I was so happy and so grateful to have got this. I got Super Mario Land 1 and 2, Land of 6 Golden Coins, and I played those games to death. I've got a really vivid image in my head of me on my old landing in my old house, just sitting there playing on the space level on Mario, and I'd played it for hours on Christmas Day, and I was just so happy and invincible and really loved that system and spent many, many hours playing it. And the Game Boy is a system that I hold with very close memories as well, very fond memories of spending long summers in my nana's house. I used to just go there with my brother, and I would stay there for, you know, days at a time. And in the daytime, I'd just sit around in her really quiet living room, just playing on my Game Boy, playing Zelda, Link's Awakening, and all those other great games. I completed Super Mario Land in her dining room. I can remember that. And I just associate it with a happier, safer time in my life, and it represents my youth and our relationship with my family. And my Nana is still alive, and I love her very much. And I guess in a strange way, I associate a Game Boy with her, with those times. So if I was to be buried, I would be buried with my Game Boy as a commemoration of my earlier days, as part of my development as a child and as a gamer, I suppose. Ah, actually, I've made that what could have been a depressing question or a depressing answer into something quite nice and happy and nostalgic. Actually made myself feel happier. Well, there you go. That's my answer to Infected Flinch's open tag video. Please do check out his questions, and it'd be interesting to hear your own video responses too. Take care, guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.